Coming back from the international break, Barcelona have spanked, bamboozled, and obliterated Valencia 6-0. This coming off the back of Hansi Flick's comments where he was not so sure if his team could repeat the successes of last season because, as he put it, ego is creeping into the team. Obviously, the first 3 games were not the most ideal. Last-minute winner against a newly promoted Levante, draw with Vallecano, and beating a 9-man Mallorca 3-0. Yes.
With that being said, welcome back to another episode of the Basement Ballers. Ladies and gentlemen, it's lovely to see your beautiful faces again. Today, the topic is about Barcelona. The first 2 games were a struggle, but seemingly they have bounced back against Valencia. But that being said, Brahim, let's just be real. As an outsider, we all see what you guys do against Valencia every single fucking time. For me, it's not really that impressive, if I'm being honest. So flip the switch. It might be a bit of an over-exaggeration. Me personally. That's what I'm saying. Me personally.
You say that. However, you have to keep in mind, I believe it was 6. There was 6 new starters in this game compared to the game against Rayo Vallecano. For example, as we all know, Lamine Yamal was injured, so he didn't play. We had Rooney Bagdaji, the youngster that we signed for $2.5 million that we could barely register. By the way, thanks La Liga. He started on the right wing because apparently Flick was trying to rest Rafinha because of all the travel he did during the international break. But then some rumors are saying it's because he was late for training. I don't know. Points. It was Rashford, Ferran, Rooney as the starters, with Fermin, Pedri, Casado, and for Frankie de Jong, obviously.
Wait, so the youngster played at right wing? The youngster was playing at right wing?
He was, yes. He was playing at right wing. He's basically in Lamine's spot. Rashford was on the left. Ferran was the striker. You had Pedri, Casado, Fermin as the midfield. Then you had Gerard Martin, Kubarsi, Eric Garcia, and Koundé as the back line, along with Juan Garcia. Now, the thing is with the game that annoyed me is that it could have legitimately been 10-0. So after the first half, it finished 1-0. But Ferran Torres could have scored at least 2 goals. It could have been at least 3-4-0 by the end of the first half. And then we just absolutely obliterated them the second half. The reason why I like this victory to me is a bit impressive is just because, first of all, we were playing in a 6,000-seater stadium, mind you. Now, don't get me wrong. Because the stadium was so close to the pitch and everything, it actually created a pretty decent atmosphere. Don't get me wrong. But obviously, the circumstances weren't ideal. However, we got confirmation today. We are going to return to the Camp Nou. Either for Getafe next week, but for sure against Real Sociedad end of the month. So the city has given Barca the license to start playing games at the stadium. So that's good, but obviously...
At what capacity?
27,000.
Okay, how many can you fit in now? Pause.
Well, 27,000. I think the stadium
fit...
I
mean like in the stadium.
I believe 65. I believe.
What? Camp Nou?
Yeah.
No, I mean, where you're playing right now.
In the Montjuic? 50.
50K?
Yeah,
okay,
50K.
All right, so you're going to be downgrading a little bit, but slowly making that transition, essentially.
Exactly. But Barca have been going through a few, obviously. There's always a crisis with Barca. There's the fact that they were able to bounce back in this game. And here's the thing. Yes, we have spanked Valencia over the last couple of years a lot, especially last year. We beat them 2-1 the first game at Mestalla. That was the first game of the season. It was 2-1. Then we beat them 7-1 in the return game at the Montjuic and 5-0 in the Copa del Rey at Valencia, by the way. So, yeah, it's not that it's anything new to beat Valencia for us. However, just with the way the season was going so far, the performances. Yesterday, I felt like I was watching Bars from last year. Just ruthless, very quick in transition. The pressing was good. A lot of the pressing in the first 3 games was very off. It was not there. So the pressing yesterday was very good, which created more chances, which made us play the way we did. So I was happy with that. Obviously, the injuries do suck, especially that Spain, we're giving Lamine painkillers to play. I don't know if you did see that, but Flick was pissed off, obviously. De Jong had some discomfort. And, nothing is ever perfect in the world of Barca. But, 6-0, I'll take it. We're going into the Newcastle game this week. For me, this Newcastle game is important. That's where I'm going to be like, okay, I think we're back because we're playing away, obviously, at a club that obviously is not in the Champions League that often. So they're going to have a very big atmosphere. And Lamine Yamal is most likely missing that game. So this game is going to be a very big test for us, and I think if we come out of that game, not only with a win, but depending on how we win, to me is going to indicate if we're truly, back or not.
So that's actually something I wanted to touch on, pause a little bit, like the whole international break stuff when it comes to Barcelona. Obviously, Barcelona having a lot of players that play for Spain. It seems kind of weird, this obsession for example, Spain to play its best players against dudes like Bulgaria and Turkey. And to even like, although I take rumors with a grain of salt, but to even sort of suggest that Lamine Yamal was forced to take painkillers to play.
Those weren't rumors. Flick himself confirmed it.
Did he?
Yeah, Flick said it. That Flick came out in a press conference before the Valencia game, was going off on Spain. He basically said like, yeah, they're like, well, I didn't say they're assholes, but he basically told them like, yeah, this is not right. They forced him to play with painkillers. Yeah, Flick himself confirmed it.
Yeah, well then that opens up another debate completely, and perhaps another YouTube video completely about sort of the background scenes of what goes on during international break with the international teams, because something is up, something happens every time a team happens to go during international break, somebody gets injured. And it's definitely a menace to the game of football, if I'm being honest. But that being said, that's fine. In terms of Valencia, one thing that I think a lot of like outside of fans and obviously like Barca fans were noticing about Barca is their high line was getting exposed quite a bit. Do you feel like Valencia maybe just didn't have the materials or the equipment to sort of take advantage of that weakness, for example?
I think it's two things. One, Valencia, mind you, they had, I think, only one shot on target this whole game. So, no, Valencia, don't get me wrong. Obviously, we played very well against them, but they were also just very bad. Valencia has not been that good the last couple of years. Like last year, I believe they finished like, I forgot exactly what position, but they finished like mid-table, like I think like 12th or something is what they finished. This result brings them down to 15th, so they've entered the game 10th in the league. Now they go down to 15th because obviously the goal difference. But I think it's one. Yeah, I don't think maybe they tried, but two, maybe they just couldn't because my thing, what I always said with the high line is not the issue. It's the high line. The only issue with it is that if you don't press effectively, then the high line gets undone very easily. Yes, that is the thing. So it's a thing that's very high risk, high reward. So if you do the pressing, like yesterday, for example, we saw the pressing was back, which is why the high line never got breached or whatever, because we were pressing like monsters. The first couple of games and also last year, the few times where like the high line got undone is because we weren't pressing. The issue with the high line is you have to press like an animal for it to work. If you don't, even if you don't press, even if two guys are pressing out of the front line, but one of them isn't, then the press is going to fail. Like everyone needs to be pressing. Everyone needs to have that cohesion. So that's what I always say. If the press is there, the high line works. The press isn't there, the high line won't work.
100%. And so let's go and sort of fast forward a little bit. So this episode should actually drop on the same day that Barcelona take on Newcastle, which happens to be Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so going sort of fast forwarding our thought process to that game where you have a team like Newcastle who has actually rather pacey wingers that can sort of like, they have Alanga, for example, they have Gordon,
they have Isak.
Too soon. Okay. Yeah. But they have these players that, and especially, I don't know if you watched the Liverpool game, but the way that they pressed Liverpool and sort of they have the midfielders capable of pressing a team like that. So that plus the fact that you're going to St. James's Park, how do you feel? Are your kind of like is your outlook for that game like?
I'm not look, the only thing that worries me about the Newcastle game is their size, like the size of the team. The reason why is because Barca has a way more technically like better team than Newcastle. Newcastle does have a pretty good technical like midfield, especially with Tonali, Guimaraes, Joelinton, whatever. But Barca, obviously, on a technicality point of view, are better than pretty much every team in the world, except for like maybe you could say PSG, right? So we're obviously going to keep most of the ball. My only worry is Newcastle, obviously playing at St. James, they're going to want to like rough up the players a bit, maybe get some corners, get some set pieces, whatever. And the thing is, their team is very big, so their striker, Walton, what's his name?
Voltamata.
Yeah, I keep forgetting his name. Him obviously scored against the Wolves this week. His literally first game, first goal. I know what was it? It was a header, right? Because the guy's 6'6" as a striker, which is insanely hard to deal with. On top of that they have Dan Burn, Bruno Guimaraes is pretty tall, Joelinton is tall. Anthony Gordon is not too short himself. He's decently tall. Yeah. Like they have a pretty big team, and Barca's team is very good, but they're small. Like even our back line. Obviously, Kubarsi and Eric Garcia are shrimps compared to, Dan Burn and those guys. Yeah. This is the only game where I'd say maybe bring in, let's say, like one of Christensen or Arau. Personally, I'd bring in Christensen with Kubarsi. Just try to avoid set pieces or hopefully Flick trains them to kind of enter, like, certain tactics in order to, deal with the height better. That's the only thing that worries me. Other than that, I'm not really worried about Newcastle that much because, yeah, their pressing is good, but Barca is a very press-resistant team. They're the most press-resistant team probably in the world. Like, obviously, I know they pressed Liverpool a lot. Liverpool aren't as press-resistant as Barca. Barca are very press-resistant, so I'm not worried about the press. As long as we do our thing, press them and whatever. I don't think the Highline's going to be undone too many times. I think we should be good. I'm just worried about the size. Pause.
For sure. Yeah, I think I've said this for a while now. Even regardless of what Barcelona's form might be, I think obviously on their day they're arguably the best team in the world. But obviously, with small changes here, I think. But on their day, they can definitely beat the best of them. I'll put it like that, right? But I always knew that going to Newcastle will be a tough fixture for them. For the exact same reasons that you said. So it'll definitely be interesting to see. And by the time you guys see this video, the results will be out. And so maybe you'll call Brahim an idiot. I don't know. I mean, I do it every day type shit. But you know what I'm saying? We'll just have to see on Thursday. But that being said, Brahim, let's look at your rivals across the pond. No, okay, not really across. Let's look at your rivals in Spain, Real Madrid, who are obviously cooking right now, 4 for 4. You going into an El Clasico as Barcelona, as they are now, obviously, let's just say Lamine Yamal is back.
Yeah, Madrid don't worry me. If that's your they don't worry me. Look, I've watched. Look, I don't want to make this too Madrid-centric, obviously, but just to summarize it quickly, they're 4 wins out of 4, yes, but I've watched every single one of their games. There hasn't been one game where I think they played that well. Now, look, they have a few patterns that they're doing a bit better than when they were doing under Ancelotti. The one thing I will say as well is that Mbappe is in very scary form, yes. And who knows, Bellingham's not playing, so maybe they'll become insane when Bellingham comes back. But the only thing I will say is that, if you look at the last game they played against Sociedad, the only reason why they won that game is, first of all, Mbappe got onto a loose ball from a Sociedad player and just outpaced everyone else because he's fast as shit. Finished it off. The second one was obviously, a bit of individual brilliance from Mbappe to give it to Goulet to score. So I'm telling you, Mbappe himself has been on fire. He's definitely he started off the season so far as the best player of this new season so far. That's what I think, right? But having said that, I don't see anything to worry about necessarily about Madrid that wasn't already there before, other than the fact that Mbappe's in scarier form. If we can deal with him, Madrid don't scare me that much. I think our team is still better than them. I think our team plays better than them as a team, whatever. So Madrid don't scare me that much.
Fair enough. But even so, going back to that high line you like to play and Mbappe's sheer pace and his ability to sort of expose a defense. Do you don't think that that's something that he will be looking to do?
Yeah, well, we said that last. Look, we played Madrid 4 times last year, and towards the end of the year. So the first 2 times we played them, obviously we spanked them. The 4-0 and the 5-1, the 3-2 in the Copa del Rey final, and the 4-3 in the league. Right, those games, obviously Madrid at that point kind of tried to adjust to the way we played. So obviously that's why the results were closer. But end of the day, I think Barca were able to deal with it because you have to keep in mind Barca this year. Yeah, okay, they might have lost Inigo Martinez, which obviously was our best defender, especially with that high line. Yes, but look, all I'm gonna say is I do trust in Flick. Okay. I trust Flick will find the solution. End of the day, Madrid could score 4 goals against us. We could score 5 past them. Our team is so good attacking wise that defensively we might get undone a few times. Sure, we're gonna score the goals, and Madrid's defense is not that good.
Fair enough. Yeah, actually.
With Saddam Hussein as well, 2 red cards.
I was just about to. Oh my God, twins!
Yeah, Jesus, don't say that. I mean, okay, yeah, sure.
No. You know, fuck it. I'm done. All right, guys. But that is what we want to talk about today for Barcelona. Let us know in the comments if you agree with the points that we made, and also other points. You think that Barcelona, that game against Valencia, was just a one-off shoot, and that their form overall will suffer this season, or do you think that Barcelona will come back to the team that they were last season, or even better, because that's the hope. At the end of the day, they want to be better so that they can go on and win that Champions League.
Without Ter Stegen, anything's possible.
Without Ter Stegen, anything is possible. That is the quote of the day, guys. Go check out all of our links in the description. Basement Ballers, legitimately anywhere you search us up, you'll see his face, you'll see my face, and then there's a special link in the description for a Discord server called the Ballers Academy, a wonderful place that grows and grows Pause. Every single day with new members that want to talk about football. You got your fan pages, the Barcelona fan page, the Real Madrid fan page, so on and so forth, where you can talk to brothers that you like. And then there's other fan pages that you can infiltrate and talk to brothers that you don't like. And so that's the magic of the Ballers Academy. It's a community at the end of the day. We love each other very much, but the banter is still there. Without further ado, guys, we love your faces. Thank you for everything. Like, comment, subscribe. We are at 500 subscribers. That's amazing. Thank you guys so much. And we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.